What's cracking, Jack? It's Wednesday, November 5th, and you're in the jungle. 11 games in the association tonight. We've got a lot to get to, so pour yourself a drink. Let's hang out for a bit and talk about how to make some money. Salud. Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to the show, and if you're joining us for the first time, welcome to the jungle. We're going to break down all 11 games in the association and come up with the best bet for all of them. And I'm going to leave for you two links in the comments section. The first link is to my $5 favorite play of the day. And for just $5 and no further obligation, you get my best NBA bet of the day text to your phone. Yesterday's play was Quentin Grimes of the 76ers over 14.5 points. He fell short, and he will be dealt with accordingly. The second link is to become a Jungle member, and for as little as 55 cents a day as a member, you get my full betting card, every sport, sent to your phone every single morning. You also get access to our members-only Discord and a direct line to me if you'd like me to opine on any other bet that you're considering placing. We have a free weekly trial. Take it for a test spin and see if it's for you. Yesterday's trivia question was, what NBA player leads the league in minutes played? The answer, there were a lot of good guesses, but no correct guesses. The answer is Kelly Oubre Jr. of the Philadelphia 76ers. 0 Jungle points awarded today, but great trivia question at the end of the video today. Looking forward to seeing what your guesses are. Today's video is brought to you by Outlier.bet, the top name in sports betting research, and by Red Lobster. A reminder that our Columbus, Ohio location is closed January 9th for the 4th annual Flat Earthers Convention. Today's voyage begins in Cleveland with the 76ers taking on the Cavs. Philadelphia is on the second day of a back-to-back, and they're plus 9.5. The over-under is at 235.5. Although he's listed as doubtful, I'm certain that Embiid's not going to play. And I've said it on record before. I think at this point, the Sixers are better without him. He was 1 for 12 last night in the second half against the Bulls, and in my opinion, he's the reason they lost the game. He demands his touches, he slows down the offense, he forces threes while passing up open looks for teammates, and he looks like he has terrible BO. Although they're on the second game of a back-to-back, I think the Sixers have too much firepower not to cover this number. Nick Nurse is not shy about playing his star players extra minutes on day twos of back-to-backs, especially the young ones. I'd take the Sixers plus 9.5, and I'd also look at Donovan Mitchell of Cleveland over 25.5 points. Utah at Detroit. Utah is plus 10.5. The over-under 232.5. Walker Kessler out for Utah. Tobias Harris out for the Pistons. This is another situation where I think it's too many points for the away team, especially with the Pistons not having Harris, one of their best scorers. Detroit has a point differential of plus 3.4 this season. Utah has a differential of minus 3.0. I think it's too many points to give a team that's number one in offensive rebounding in the NBA who can score points. They have a lot of firepower with Keontae George and Lauri Markkanen, who's one of the best scorers in the league this year. I'd take Utah with the 10.5. I'd also consider Markkanen over his line of 24.5 points. Brooklyn at Indiana. The Nets are plus 6.5. The over-under is 232.5. Indiana has one win this season, and it wasn't by 7 points, which is where the line is, what they have to cover by. It was by 5, but Brooklyn had 0 wins this season. In every game they lost but one has been by 7 points or more. I think the Pacers have the better lineup even with the injuries, and that's the better side here you want to play. But I think the best play here in this game is in the player prop market, and that's Nick Claxton of the Nets to record over 10.5 points. He's been over this number in 3 straight games with point totals of 18, 19, and 18. The only time that Claxton has not exceeded this line has been against good opposing centers. Cleveland, Jared Allen, the Spurs with Wembanyama, and the Rockets with Sengun. Isaiah Jackson of the Pacers does not pose the same defensive threat as the 3 that I mentioned. Take Nick Claxton over 10.5 points. Minnesota at the Knicks. Wolves plus 3.5. The over-under is 227.5. Anthony Edwards questionable for Minnesota. Karl Anthony Towns questionable for the Knicks, and so is Mitchell Robinson. Towns may or may not be wearing nail polish, we're not sure. But I like the Knicks minus 3.5. They've covered the spread every game at home this season, and Minnesota has covered the spread in just 29% of their games this season, overvalued at this point by the books. But I also like Julius Randle of the Wolves to go over his point total of 20.5. He has a median of 26 points this season. The only 2 games he didn't go over this number of 20.5, he ended up with 19. Take the Knicks minus 3.5 and look at Randall over 20.5 points. Washington at Boston. Boston minus 11.5. The over-under is 233.5. I lay the points with the Celtics. Washington has only beaten this spread of 11.5, 30% of their games this season. Boston isn't scoring at the clip that we're used to from them, but they're the second best defense in the NBA, allowing just 109.6 points a game. The Wizards have a point differential of minus 14.4 per game, which is third worst in the NBA. I'd take the Celtics minus the big number. Houston at Memphis. The Rockets minus 7.5. Over-under is 232.5. I think the four best teams in the NBA are all in the Western Conference in no particular order. Thunder, Nuggets, Spurs, and Rockets. The Rockets are unapologetically blowing teams out of the water. They have a point differential of plus 12.6 per game. In their last 4 games, they've won by this margin, at least by this margin of 7.5. The Grizzlies are a mess. They have Ja drama. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games. Their only win was a 1-point win over the Suns. In those last 5, they failed to cover the spread. Their last 2 games on the road in Toronto and home against the Pistons. Lay the 7.5 with Houston, one of the best plays on the board today. New Orleans at Dallas. New Orleans is plus 7.5. The over-under is 227.5. Anthony Davis, Glassman, and Derek Lively out for Dallas. And, of course, Zion is out for New Orleans. Both these teams stink, but the Pelicans stink more. They got their first win of the year last night against the Hornets, and aren't we all so proud of them? They have a point differential of minus 15 a game. The Mavericks, not too much better. Point differential of minus 8.2, and Cooper Flagg is still struggling to play point guard. There's no reason to think that New Orleans can keep up and keep this within 8 points, but there's no reason to think that Dallas is going to beat anyone by 8 points or more. So let's take a look at the total here instead. 71% of Dallas's games this season have gone under this total of 227.5. I mean, only 30% of the Pelicans games have gone under. But when you have one team that plays in high-scoring games and one team that plays in low-scoring games, the slower-paced, lower-scoring team ordinarily controls the tempo and point total. If you must, if you have to, if you need to play this game, I'd take the under 227.5, and then I'd call that 1-800 number. Miami at Denver, the Heat, plus 9.5, over-under 241.5. Two healthy teams except for Tyler Hero for the Heat, but they've been without him all season. Jamal Murray listed as probable for the Nuggets, and Terry Rozier has set the odds at minus 185 that Murray's going to play. Denver has a point differential of plus 11.1. Miami, a point differential of plus 6.8. Norman Powell, Stormin' Norman, back in the lineup for Miami. He's healthy, and that's a great sign for the Heat, who I think are a top 4 team in the East this season. I like the points with Miami. 9.5 is too many to give this Heat team. They've only lost by this number one time this season, and that was a game in which Miami shot a season-low 27% from 3, and also in that game they shot a season-low 69% from the foul line. We call that, my friends, an outlier performance, and you don't factor that into handicapping. The Nuggets have only covered the spread 50% of games this season. Take the Heat plus the 9.5. Spurs at the Lakers, San Antonio, plus 2.5. Over-under is 227.5. Austin Reeves, questionable for the Lakers. The Lakers have won 4 straight, but I like the Spurs here. San Antonio's coming off their only loss of the season, and that was November 2nd. So they're rested. San Antonio is the best defensive team in the association. They allow just 108.2 points a game. They also have a point differential of plus 10. The Lakers' point differential is plus 3.1. The Lakers have a hard time defending the paint. They're 27th in the NBA in second chance points allowed. They're 16th in paint points allowed, 27th in block shots. The Spurs get blocked on offense less than anyone in the league. They're 8th in paint points and 5th in second chance points. The Spurs will look to exploit the edge they have down low. Take San Antonio plus the 2.5. OKC at Portland. Lou Dort, questionable. Thunder, minus 4.5, over-under 230.5. The Thunder on a back-to-back, but the Thunder have covered this number of 4.5 in 88% of their games this season. And even though they're on a back-to-back, there's no reason not to back the champs here. They continue to dominate. They have the best point differential in the NBA at plus 13.2. Lay the points with the champs on the road. And the last game we're looking at, Golden State at Sacramento. Warriors plus 2.5. Pardon me. Over-under 225.5. Steph Curry is out. Jimmy Butler's questionable. Zach LaVine is questionable. And Sabonis is questionable. So 3 big questionable players here. Butler, LaVine, and Sabonis. So until we get more information about these 3 that make an enormous difference in the handicap, the best thing to do is stay away from the side and the total. If you want something in this game, I look to Brandon Pajomski of the Warriors over points, rebounds, and assists. He's going to have an increased workload in every way with Steph Curry out and with Jimmy Butler questionable. So if he is playing, he won't be 100%. Time for trivia. It's no easy task to handle the ball in the NBA. You're bound to turn the ball over. Devin Booker turns the ball over 4.3 times per game, which is the second most. Only one player turns the ball over more than that. This player turns the ball over 4.8 times per game, the most in the NBA. Who is that player? Put your answer in the comments section. If you're right, you'll get 3 Jungle points. Get the 25 Jungle points and receive a free item in the merchandise store at silverbackjungle.com. Let's have a day, and I'll see you tomorrow with a little more money in your pocket.